This candle is lit. It will only be extinguished when the final deletion of Brother Nero occurs.
Finish him! Fatality. Flawless victory.
Ah, yes! Welcome to the boys of Analytics. I am your host, the Broken Vacuuminator, and I am, of course, joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, he who was once but is no longer obsolete, Brother Boingo. Brother Boingo, how fares your vessel upon this fine eve in the Ark of Toba?
I'll fade away and classify myself as obsolete.
Ah, yes, wonderful, Brother Boingo. What? That's good, Chris. That's really good. I'm glad to be here with you tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing snap. I'm doing words.
Great.
I'm a little tired. I'm a little tired, a little punchy.
I am too. I'm a little tired, but I'm here. I'm ready to unwind after work and talk about quite possibly the greatest wrestling storyline of all time with you. Like, I'll be honest, for me, it's either this or Stone Cold versus Mr. McMahon. I'm not sure which is better, but it's one of them.
I would put Gargano Ciampa up there as well.
You know what? You're right. I always it's because it's not one I've sat through. It's one I've experienced over time. I need to go and I'm pretty sure it's like over for now. So I guess I should just like sit through Ciampa versus Gargano. I should sit through it at some point.
Yeah, and Naito and the Intercontinental Championship whole storyline. I've only seen bits and parts of that, but it's really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
But that's New Japan.
Yeah, and we should. I guess we should tell the audience what the hell we're talking about, even though they can probably tell by like the image and the title and all that fun stuff. But
yeah, and you're also your intro.
What?
Also your intro.
Yeah, that's right. We're talking about the Broken Matt Hardy saga, which for those of you, well, Chris, this was a topic you put on the list, so why don't you go ahead and give the backstory?
All right, give me the hard job. The best way to think about this is it's much less a storyline in a wrestling thing, but more like a storyline in a comic book. So there's multiple parts in multiple places, and they all congeal into one continuity for one character.
See, I kind of like to think of it as like it's a YouTube show that's in the vein of the Addams Family.
That's the aesthetic, but I was more going like how to think of it storytelling wise and continuity wise. To get your mind around how it functions. But the storyline goes, Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy, former WWE wrestlers, are currently in Impact Wrestling. After going through major trials and tribulations, they basically getting into the groove. Then they start bickering because Matt Hardy basically becomes a bad guy, becomes world champion. Jeff Hardy costs him the championship, and they start going at it until eventually they have an I Quit match. The match goes on, and Jeff Hardy beats Matt Hardy senseless. So much so that
fucking kills Matt the way it goes. It's one of the most, like, not in blood way, but it's like a super brutal match.
It's very impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Get it? Impact.
It's within the zone of impact.
But essentially, during that match, Jeff Hardy broke Matt Hardy. And so over the course of several promos and video packages, Matt Hardy became broken. Eventually, throughout all of this, it comes to a head where they have to basically just go like, all right, fine. Whoever wins this match just controls Hardy, the name Hardy and everything. And this begins the deletion series. Basically, Matt Hardy directs, writes, and makes a short film based around a wrestling match that's more B-movie than WWE.
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't even call it a wrestling match. It's just like two kids fighting in the woods with whatever shit they could find in their garage, but there's a wrestling ring also.
Yeah, but eventually the story continues. The story continues in different plot points and blah 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 blah. And we can talk about that later as we get to different parts of the story that we want to talk about. But essentially, it sets up the character of Broken Matt Hardy and Brother Nero. Matt Hardy now is a Messiah-esque character who conversates with beings called the Seven Deities and several animals that have the souls of former important people in the human history. And he really loves green beans. It's less of a defined character.
And he hates mustard. Don't forget, he despises mustard.
But it's less of a defined one-to-one character and more of a bunch of character concepts that converge into what the character is. His whole family's involved, including his son, King Maxwell,
who is an infant at the time of beginning making.
At the beginning. By the end of it, he is 2 years old and has a 1-0 wrestling record, beating Rockstar Spud.
Oh my god, that was like, okay. I guess we're just gonna jump into topics now, and parts of this we'll do that right after. Let's do that right after we get the rest of the cast. Okay. You also have Rebby, who is Matt Hardy's wife, and Senor Benjamin, who as a character is the groundskeeper, but in real life is actually Matt Hardy's father-in-law. Mm-hmm.
Now continue.
You're not going to talk about Vanguard 1 and Skarsgård?
Okay, Vanguard 1 is his AI drone, and Skarsgård is his dilapidated boat.
Excellent. Yes. Okay, so like, here's the big thing I noticed this time around was like just how many WWE superstars now were in Impact at the time, and I didn't know it the first time I watched this because I wasn't a wrestling guy at all the first time I watched this, and I was watching it and I was like, what the fuck is the guy from 205 doing here?
You mean Drake Maverick?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's Rockstar Spud here.
And they're acting, and it's really funny because he's very quickly shoved into the background, but at the start of it, when like the Willow shit and whatnot is going down, he's supposedly like a close friend of the Hardys, and there's a moment in the initial, like the signing for Slammiversary video where Rebby is leaving the house. All of a sudden she says, I can't talk to him, Spud can't talk to him, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, how important was Spud to this storyline? I completely forgot about this character. And then he's never mentioned again.
He's the Tien Shin Han of this saga.
Yeah.
No, he's worse. He's the fucking... Who's the motherfucker baseball dude in Dragon Ball?
I barely know Dragon Ball.
God damn it. What is his fucking name?
I love how upset you're getting about this.
No, hold on. Yamcha! Yamcha! He's the fucking Yamcha!
He is, yeah.
Fuck piss poor memory.
Yeah. But yeah, this is just so much fun. This is like rewatching a really good YouTuber who you love, whose videos have just barely aged. Like it's just a few of those early videos was I like, oh yeah, the filmmaking in this is not the best. This is clearly Matt getting his sea legs.
Yeah, and it's
Because
very
for those of you
interesting.
who don't know, because people hear professional wrestling and they think like, oh, that's all this moving parts, everybody's involved, it's a big orchestrated storyline. For the most part, the Broken Matt Hardy saga is just videos Matt and Jeff shot in at their house and then sent to Impact Wrestling, and we're just like, here, air these in 2-second clips over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, like, because Impact had nothing to lose at that point in time. They were like bleeding money. They weren't making anything. And honestly, Impact is at a much better place now, and a lot of people are really enjoying the stuff they're doing. And the only reason I think that they're at the point they are right now is because they were held afloat by the Broken Hardy saga. You know?
Yeah. And I mean, I really the few times we do actually go to the Impact Zone, I do like the way that they generally have their ring and everything set up. It feels, I don't want to say indie, but it feels much more small and intimate and just about the fight rather than being like, we're in this big arena and it's a giant show like WWE likes to do. And I do like that about WWE, but it had Impact
WWE also has the number of fans to get away with that.
Yeah, Impact has this nice kind of intimate feel to it that's kind of like necessitated by how small of a company they are. And like I don't want to say like, oh, they should never get popular, but I kind of like that they're small because it gives them that different feel. And like even the design of their ring kind of reminded me like, you know how there's always that plot in a superhero show about somebody capturing a bunch of people with superpowers and forcing them to fight in like a
Battle Royale.
Yeah, in like a battle royale bootleg. It's cops aren't supposed to know about it. Anything goes fighting. That's what the Impact Zone kind of reminded me of in its aesthetic.
I can see that. Yeah, but why don't we talk about the first deletion?
It's kind of a masterpiece in and of itself. Holy crap. There's so much I could tear apart there. It's just, it's like everything I want to do with YouTube and storytelling of it. Like, I was gonna hold this bit back, but like, I guess I'll go ahead and get into it. Rewatching the saga this time made me like fully solidified how much I love wrestling's way of storytelling, of just taking shit from recent parts of your life and contextualizing it into a story with this alter ego wacky character. And it made me realize like I've been kind of shying away from it and dipping my toes and not realizing what I want to do. This is how I need to approach YouTube. This is the kind of stuff I need to be doing. Not necessarily a Broken Matt saga, but like that spirit of storytelling is what I need to start harnessing. And all that really kind of hit me during this video because it's kind of alluded to throughout the whole Broken Matt saga with Jeff and everything and breaking his leg and having his addiction to spot monkey antics. But in that fight where it's like it's just them hashing it out and being like, we have to end this. We have to be brothers again. We have to be comrades and stand up as the Hardy Boys. It feels like, because you and I know all this behind the scenes shit about Matt and Jeff, thanks to something we've already done an episode on their WWE 24 episode. It really came home for me how much they were alluding to that whole period of their life where they were having substance abuse problems and trying to get themselves straight and get back on their wrestling careers.
Yeah. And it's also very kind of interesting because through a variety of interviews, basically Jeff Hardy has admitted that while he's really good at wrestling, Matt was always the idea guy. And that this whole thing of their rebirth of characters really came through Matt's characterization, and he became the center focal point instead of Jeff, which was always kind of interesting.
Yeah, because like, for those of you who don't know, back in the day when they were the Hardy Boys, Team Extreme, big WWE guys, it was really Jeff who was the popular one. Matt was always kind of just his tag team partner to us, the audience. I mean,
Matt did have his cult favorite fans with like V1 and Matt Fax, and
but
he's had interesting storylines.
He was never anywhere near as popular as Jeff was back in the day, and that's why as soon as Jeff left WWE, Matt kind of just got shoved around the mid card for a few years.
Yeah.
But of course now because of this and Matt inventing this like wonderful, crazy, rambunctious, off-the-wall character with all these weird little inflections and accents. It's elevated him to the place where he's as popular, maybe more popular than his brother ever was. And that's not to say like, oh, screw Jeff, I'm glad Jeff's going under. It's just like, it's an interesting way things have flipped over the years.
I'd say it's more they're now equal because Jeff will always be super fucking popular because all he has to do is come out to some fucking dum, 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 dum kind of music and just thrust his hips like a couple times and everybody goes like, oh, it's Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, like Jeff's on SmackDown right now and I love it whenever he comes out and starts doing his thing.
His last feud with Randy Orton was beautiful.
That Hell in the Cell match, holy shit.
With Randy Orton just like taking the screwdriver into his gauge hole and just twisting it's like ow.
But this so yeah, I really love the first deletion video, and it's really cool because it's so obvious that it was just like Matt slowly won over the Impact producers and was like, okay, so I want to do this big conclusion to the storyline, and I have this idea, but it's mostly going to be improvised at my house, and it's going to be a big match, and it's going to take up a lot of the show. Can you just send us like a referee and a cherry picker for the night? Okay. And it turned out wonderfully because it was obviously just him and Jeff playing it by ear the whole time and having a blast in a way they probably hadn't since they were kids. Because another thing to know about these guys, they've been wrestling since they were like 13 flipping years old. They had their own wrestling federation when they were kids. They were the Trampoline Wrestling Federation, I think it was called.
Yeah. It was TWF for teenage, and then they made it Trampoline, and like it's a bunch of fun stuff. But like you can also tell throughout this whole thing that it is very much the tip of the iceberg, but also all cards on the table.
Yeah. And I just love the whole concept of Broken and how it ties in both with kayfabe and Matt's own reality, because it's really hitting upon that idea of that pseudo nihilistic idea of once you stop giving a fuck about anything, that's when you unlock your true potential. And it's so cool and inspiring to see a guy who is not like super old, but he's like in his 40s when he made this, and I think still is. And it's like, even at that age, you can finally unlock your potential and do something amazing with your life and become a huge, like, marquee name person.
Oh, yeah. So much so that that a major $1 million company goes like, all right, guys, you can come on home.
Yeah. Well, my headcanon with that in kayfabe is that Broken Matt just showed up to Vince's door one day with all the belts from the Expedition of Gold wrapped around himself, and just laughed maniacally. And Vince, knowing what was going down, just sighed and said, "Okay, fine, you can be at WrestleMania."
I'd imagine Vince would be like, "Oh, it's Matt Hardy. He's crazy. Someone get the tranquilizer," and that's why he wasn't broken for a while.
Yes, headcanon accepted.
But Rebby was awesome. Senor Benjamin was awesome.
Rebby's great. Like,
Rebby loves her man.
I have not seen her wrestle. I don't think there's a part in the saga where she ever actually wrestles, but like,
I don't think she was ever a wrestler.
Yeah, but still, she is best wrestle wife.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drop it. She's best wrestle wife. There is no one who's had like a better and more like great, supportive, but also kind of badass wife character in wrestling. Sorry, Brie Bella. Sorry, Maurice. Sorry, what's Johnny Gargano's wife's name?
Candice LeRae.
Sorry, Candice LeRae. You're all fine in your own ways, but you're never gonna live up to Rebby Hardy.
I would like to pause a second. My family just got home.
Okay. All right. So where the fuck were we?
We were talking. You're just gonna edit all that out, so
I am.
we were talking about the final deletion, and we talked a ton about that. We were talking about Rebby.
Yeah, we were talking about Rebby. Rebby's great. I think we said that.
Yeah. So, you want to talk about Delete or Decay?
Yeah, it's by no means my favorite part of the saga, but it's a really good, smart choice of like, you've created these characters who are basically a modern day Addams Family. They're a bunch of kooky weirdo psychopaths. So, but they're also super over. So what are you gonna do with this? How you can't have them be the bad guys. I mean, you could if you were Vince McMahon, but you can't realistically have them be the bad guys and expect the crowd to react well to that. So what do? You put them up against the spookiest dukes you can get. And it worked pretty well.
Yeah. Also really good. It just really kind of shows that the Hardys are much more of like that old school Universal style horror.
Mm-hmm.
And the Decay are very much, we're slashers and guts and gore.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the one guy, Crazy Steve, I think his name is.
I love how his name is just Crazy Steve.
I think his entire shtick is just doing like a weird manic Joker impression.
Yeah. He wasn't the only one in Impact doing that, because the Crow also did that.
I forgot there was a character called the.
No, it wasn't the Crow. It was Sting. Sting did that.
Already had Sting in the
Joker
or WCW.
In WCW, he was Surfer Sting, and then he became the Crow Sting, and he stayed the Crow Sting until much later when he became Joker Sting.
Yeah. But, like, Sting's kind of known for both being the Joker and being the Crow. So you have a guy who's calling himself the Crow and being the Joker. It's weird.
And then you have Crazy Steve.
Mm-hmm. And Crazy Steve's fine. Rosemary's kind of cool.
It's mainly because I know it more from indie wrestling. Rosemary just there was a indie wrestler who did some stuff with Fest, and it's kind of similar.
Oh, cool.
Kind of undead bride, spooky goth girl.
Okay. And then you have Abyss in there, just being Abyss, doing Abyss stuff.
Yeah. Abyss, the third Undertaker.
Yeah. He's more of like a, he's more of like a, not McFoley, but McFoley when he had the mask. What was that?
Mankind.
Yeah, he's more of like a Mankind impersonator, but he's also like really great in his own right. And Yeah, I've seen some Abyss stuff. I like Abyss. There's a really great promo where Hulk Hogan gives him his Hall of Fame ring, and that's a really good video. And
The
dude
chemistry
just got
between
inducted into the Impact Hall of Fame too. I just remembered that.
yeah, but the chemistry between both teams is just like good.
Yeah,
They're really good at working together.
like there's little things you can point out, but overall, this is just kind of like a solid middle arc to get you through things. And
A good empire.
there's a lot of good character building here. I like how we kind of this is where Skarsgård comes in, is like right at the start of this, and this is where Senior Benjamin kind of comes alive and becomes a great character, as
A
opposed
sadistic
to
son of a bitch.
yeah, as opposed to just being the garden keeper. We find out he's also like just really into hurting people.
It's really into murder.
Yeah. Oh, that fucking bit where they're coming up on the compound and they're just like, "What the fuck are you doing?" "I'm digging your graves."
But I think this is the first solidification of everything the like a reincarnation can do.
Mm-hmm.
Because before it healed Jeff Hardy,
Yeah.
but now it's finally confirmed that it can go to past gimmicks.
Yeah, now it like turns you into different personas you've had over the years, and it can be used kind of comedically too.
And so Abyss goes into the lake and turns into Pendulette.
Yeah, which was great.
It's Pen! Why is he Pendulette?
Because it's funny.
Like,
And it gives Senior Benjamin an opportunity to get a bump in.
Yeah.
A bump with a fucking taser.
He fucking loves that taser. We'll get to the taser later on.
The taser.
Chekhov's taser.
Yeah. So what was
you know what I really enjoyed? I really enjoyed the Crazy Steve Jeff Hardy fight in the pool.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's really good.
It was so fucking good. Like they really shot that really well too.
Uh-huh.
Especially when Jeff Hardy's like sitting on the edge, kind of like motherfucker. That kind of moment, like, and then Crazy Steve jumps out like a goddamn shark and jams him back in. It's great.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So, what was after this? Was the Amnesia arc next, or was it something else?
The Amnesia arc is the next major thing, I think.
Okay, I feel like there was something else after this, but I can't remember.
No. Delete and Decay ended with Senor Benjamin and King Maxwell being kidnapped.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then the rescue mission.
Yeah, and that was fun. That was a neat little thing.
Yeah, I'd rather have 3 deletion. Like it felt very much of like a deletion's a culmination, and then you have like 5-minute minisodes of deletion.
Yeah,
which is what the rescue arc and the Amnesia arc are.
Yeah.
Because altogether, it's basically 1 deletion, but you cut it up into 5 episodes.
But
or whatever. How many?
Okay, so like the rescue arc is good, but the fucking Amnesia arc, it's my favorite part of the whole saga because it feels like a self-parody.
Well,
it feels like Matt is going like, okay, there's things we did really well in the first arc, but it's also kind of goofy and dumb at the beginning. So let's just have fun with that, and let's just do it over again.
Like, I love how he's just in a sweater.
Yeah, that first video is literally just a recreation of the Slammiversary contract signing where Jeff shows up and is like, "Rebby, what's going on?" "I don't know. He's completely different. I can't talk to him. So and so can't talk to him. He's weird. I don't know if he has amnesia or what's going on." And it's like, instead of being like a crazy, kooky bad man who wants to beat up his brother and has his wife in on it, he's just building a room. He's just doing some home improvement. He's just being Tim the Tool Man Taylor.
He's just Ned Flanders.
Yes. It's and
It really exemplifies how extreme, how big the character got, and how much impact it had on all these other different people. That once you just take that character away, you realize, wait a second, Jeff Hardy's now the sole member of a cult.
Yeah. And I love how it's basically just Matt is kind of forced out of Matt. It started with Matt going crazy and making everyone else be crazy with him and being like, guys, it's fun to be crazy. Let's do this. And then you get to this point and Matt's no longer he's become a normie. And everybody is like, Matt, what the fuck? Why are you being a normie? We want to be crazy. Come here and be crazy with us. It's fun.
I think this could also be kind of like a metatextual final redemption for Broken Matt Hardy, because at the beginning he's the bad guy, but just because people enjoyed his character so much, he became a good guy. But he never had that true. Whoa, Jesus! I had beeps.
Yeah, you did.
It surprised me. But he never really had that true moment of like. The best way I can put it is like culmination of the character of just going like, yes, this is who the character is, and it's more active than reactive, because Broken Matt Hardy was very reactive of like revenge, but now it's active of like living life.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of a redemption in a metatextual sense.
Yeah, and like there's literally that moment where he's like, he's had everybody drill it into his head that this is not what you're supposed to be like. You're a different kind of person. What's going on? And he literally just walks out into this storm and is like, if I am truly broken, let the seven deities give me a sign. And he just gets struck with fucking lightning and then has a premonition and becomes broken again. And it's choice. It's a really nice little moment.
And then we have the
moment.
Are we talking about the final, the last deletion of the TNA saga, or?
Real quick, I want to say, just like, because I realized we skipped over it, the quick little Halloween arc is really good. It's really fun. I like it.
Yeah, Hurricane Helms shows up.
They taser Donald Trump and scare Hillary Clinton off. That's great. Topical humor.
Yeah.
But then we go into the Expedition of Gold.
No. Expedition Gold happens after Tag Team Apocalyptico.
Oh, I completely forgot to watch Tag Team Apocalyptico. Okay, you're going to have to refresh me on it.
Okay. So, in real life, basically, Broken Matt Hardy became so popular, TNA just went, all right, let's just do an entire 2-hour episode of this. Just all of it.
Nice.
So they filmed an entire episode at the Hardy compound called Total Nonstop Deletion.
Okay, I remember this. I remember parts of this. I'm going to go back and rewatch this as soon as we're done recording the episode.
So, over the course of this, they have several matches, a variety of matches. Mm-hmm. The first match on the card is Rockstar Spud, currently Drake Maverick, going one-on-one with King Maxwell in a no DQ match. You want to know what happens?
Do tell.
Senior Benjamin tases his ass and Maxwell covers him.
Yes.
That's why I said Chekhov's taser.
Wonderful.
But over the course of the match, several things happened. The heavyweight title was put up against, I can't remember who was the retaining champion, but he was fighting Bobby Lashley.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Bobby Lashley was here for a few scenes. I forgot about that.
And then, because at that point in time, Matt and Jeff Hardy were the tag team champions, they had a tag team Apocalyptico, which is basically a battle royale on the Hardy compound while a volcano is exploding.
Yeah, I forgot about the volcano. Oh.
Yeah. So that whole thing goes on. And that's also when we get Shane Helms coming back, going into the Lake of Reincarnation, becoming the Hurricane, and helping Matt Hardy bury some people, and they do the Triple H joke.
Excellent. I love. I'm so glad you reminded me of the Hurricane, because it reminded me that we haven't talked about one of my favorite, like, weird oddball things in the entire saga, Itchweed.
Oh, fuck. Itchweed. Best boy.
Itchweed is best boy all years. I love him.
Itchweed spelled with like 3 E's.
Yes. He's just a psychotic gardener who just wants to get yard work done. And I love it.
Like, it's like, Matt Hardy has some odd characters. He has Matt, he has Big Money Matt, he has V1, he has Broken, Woken. Jeff Hardy, when he makes a character, you just look at Jeff Hardy and go like, what the fuck, dude? Because he made Willow.
Jeff Hardy is just the epitome of a young teenager scribbling in his notebook and coming up with a backstory for that scribble.
Have you listened to Jeff Hardy's music? Because he makes music regularly.
The only song of his I've listened to is Obsolete.
Like, it's a lot of stuff like that. It's very late 90s alt-rocky.
Very clean. I will have to look into that.
But, like, Itchweed. Dude, Itchweed! You know what Itchweed reminds me of? He reminds me of a fucking Spencer's.
He kind of does, yeah.
Itchweed is Spencer's, and like fucking Tractor Supply Company had a baby.
Had a human these two corporate entities had a single human baby. But yeah, Itchweed is great. Like, if memory serves, there's that moment when there's a news reporter like reporting on the volcano in the Hardy's yard, and she's like, I want to interview some of these people who are here watching the volcano erupt. And then she just walks over to Itchweed. Sir, what can you tell us about this? And he just starts going off on her. Oh, yeah, this crazy thing popped up out of nowhere. We ain't seen this ever. We have a hurricane. We have this, we have that, we have the other thing. I still got to get my yard work done before it gets dark. And then he fires up a weed whacker and starts chasing her.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Itchweed doesn't do anything. He's just there.
He's just there. Because I presume Jeff just had the idea and was like, can I just put this character in here? And Matt was like, I don't know what the hell we're going to do with him, but sure.
Yeah. But then we have the Expedition of Gold, where they teleport around to different wrestling federations and take their tag team titles.
Literally teleport. Literally just going around to different rinky-dink indie promotions, well, at the start. And like being, we're here to beat the tag team champions. You're not signed with us. We'll do it for free, and we're the Broken Hardys. You're gonna get a ton of money out of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Ring of Honor, they fought the Bucks of Youth.
Mm-hmm. And
man.
Well, and like that's another one of those moments where I'm like, This is really like the best redemption story arc of all time, because it's both a fictional and a real life one. And within the context of a real life one, you start off with the Hardys at what at the time was considered to be like a hodunk, like, haha, you're trying to go head to head with WWE. That's cute promotion that was on TV, but nobody really watched. And they're with all these people who are like doing kind of dumber versions of the gimmicks they would have later when they got signed with WWE.
Yeah.
And then it ends in them going around to all these little indie promotions with all these guys you've never heard of in your entire life before, and just doing a cool little thing with them and getting these guys some exposure. And then because of that, they get to go to Ring of Honor. And Ring of Honor is like a show that kinda has a chance against WWE. And then because of that, they get to go back home. They get to go back to WWE. And like I said, the last thing I watched from the I Quit match to the return at WrestleMania, And like that single little clip of not even the match itself, just them coming out at WrestleMania is one of the most transcendent, perfect fusion of shoot and work moments in wrestling ever, in my opinion.
They were welcomed home. Like
Yeah.
WWE's their home. No matter how far they were led astray, WD was always going to be their home.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had 7 months of no broken Matt Hardy. He became Woken, had an okay feud with Bray Wyatt,
And
had a
then
really good deletion, and then a tag team championship that kind of fizzled out because Matt got into bad health.
Yeah, but like, that's why I chose not to watch the Woken stuff, because it's a very different kind of thing. And like, I see it as like, it's almost like these guys went and they fought the good fight and they got themselves over again and they were welcomed back into Valhalla. And like, that's the end of this story. You can go and watch the Woken stuff and you can enjoy that for what it is, but really, this story is all about redemption and self-realization and finally realizing your potential and becoming the best version of yourself you can be, and having that, that always sought after in wrestling one last really great run.
Yep. But I mean, the Woken deletion was good. I can't remember what its name was.
I think it was called The Ultimate, or
Ultimate Deletion.
Oh yeah, okay.
Ultimate Deletion.
Yeah, it was good. And like, I guess to briefly talk about the Woken stuff, I like the Bray Wyatt feud and that deletion. The feud with the B team was like, there's good chemistry there, but it was never realized and it got cut off too soon because of real life shit. But I do like that now. Like, I don't know if you've been paying too much attention to Matt Hardy's Twitter, but in the last couple weeks, he made a Halloween special for the WWE Network of the Hardys at home, and now he's going around touring in Latin America, just promoting WWE and being a cool
brand
ambassador, and like, we've talked about, the guy's in his 40s. He's got 2 young kids. Like, as much as he loves the industry, I'm sure he's also loving just getting to promote the thing he loves and also getting to spend a lot of time with his family. Like, this isn't his best life, but it's a pretty good life he's got right now.
Yeah, but like, also you got to think of deletions don't take a ton of energy for him to put out, or like to put his body through, so he could probably do more deletions, and Jeff Hardy can always just be Brother Nero and go like, we must do it as whatever.
He can be the broken Woken ambassador on Raw or SmackDown or wherever he is at any given point in time. And because it's not out yet, we haven't seen it. If this Halloween special on the WWE Network is good, I could see them doing, just from now on, a yearly Hardy's Halloween special that's kind of like a tamer version of a deletion.
You know what I would kind of like to see? Not in terms of like being in the ring. I'd want to see Matt Hardy kind of become like an Undertaker,
where he just shows up every week and says "rest in peace" for $1 billion.
No, he just shows up every once in a while, and it's like, oh, it's a big momentous occasion because Woken Matt Hardy's here. Something weird must be going on, because something big's going on when the Undertaker shows up.
True.
That kind of mindset. You know what I thought of that I wouldn't mind seeing, but some other people might go like, not really. Not necessarily taking it away from Matt and never having him be it again, but have like a splinter version of the Woken wisdom go and infect different wrestlers who are kind of in a slump and let them be the Woken version of their character. For like
that could be cool.
Kind of like how Venom can splinter off, or like Venom can infect different people, and they're a different kind of Venom. So
out of the current roster on, like, obviously not NXT because everyone on NXT is pretty great, but like out of like Raw, SmackDown, and 205, who would you want to see become Woken right now?
Finn Balor, and his Woken is just a more malicious version of the demon. A more crazy and unhinged version of the demon, and he's just the demon 24/7.
And I was gonna say he's just all demon all the time.
And it just really just kicks his fucking badassery into top gear.
I've got two picks. One is the obvious one for me, Asuka. I think Asuka could do a lot with that gimmick, and it could be really fun with her. And Bobby Roode. Because Bobby Roode was fucking amazing in NXT, and he's just kind of there on SmackDown and now Raw. Like his current thing where he's tag teaming with Chad Gable is okay, but I'd like to see him like become like a Woken heel and start like trying to get people to acknowledge how glorious he is. Because right now he's just kind of like a smiling guy who comes out in a robe and shouts glorious. I'd like him to be more like coming out going, no, I am glorious, and you will acknowledge it.
Here's the thing. I think Bobby Roode is fine character-wise. I think he just needs more. I think we just need to see him more, and he'd be fine. Like,
fair enough.
He gets like no time to do anything, and Bobby Roode's character can work. You just gotta turn him heel and just let him loose.
I kind of feel like you could do either what I just talked about, or he could work really well as like a modern day Ted DiBiase.
I mean, he's kind of already kind of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's also kind of what he was in TNA when he was in Beer Money.
I haven't seen any of that stuff. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah. But yeah, I just think there's too much gold and Woken that WWE can like tap into. Like, just imagine an entire like wave of WWE toys of Woken version of wrestlers.
Like, they have the WWE zombies. Imagine that subline getting replaced with every year at Halloween. There's just a wave of figures that are like this person but Woken.
But like each person's like their own different version. So like Finn Balor is a more intense version of the demon. Asuka's more crazy wild colors and like bigger face paint.
Asuka is just like instead of the tights and the bra, it's a full body suit, and she just looks like a G2 transformer.
Roman just becomes like a fucking Kamen Rider.
Yeah, you know what? Woken Roman Reigns could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's people who are gonna hate me for saying that, but like, Roman has legit potential. It's just WWE mismanages him.
Here's a better way of putting it. Joe has great potential. Roman sucks. Joe, the man, fucking great. Amazing dude. Roman Reigns, he can suck a dick.
Mm-hmm.
A very unpleasant dick.
Like, it's more like you're sticking a spiked dildo up his ass.
Yeah. Oh god.
And on that note, do you have anything else you want to say about the Broken Hardy Saga?
I love everything about it, and it's very much the perfect thing to show when someone says work with what you have, not with what you want.
Yeah, it's like, I would recommend this to any YouTuber, any fucking YouTuber, because like, that for the longest time was my biggest problem, was I was trying to be bigger than I am, and I've always had like these ideas for like crazy intense storylines, but it requires like a bajillion different actors. And I don't have any actor contacts. I don't have a lot of local friends. I've never had a lot of local friends. I'm just not that kind of guy. But
And you can only buy so many wigs.
Yeah. But watching this made me like think again. Like originally watching it, I had this thought too, but like this time it struck me even more so of like, oh, I can just buy costumes and wigs and composite shots and fucking crash test dummies and shit. Like it doesn't I don't have to have a bajillion people. It can just be me and like maybe one other person I can get.
Yep.
And like that's just a little thing that sparked into my head of like, clearly Matt and Jeff wanted this to be a big, huge thing, but they didn't wait until they could make it a big, huge thing. They said, this is what we have, and we're just going to do as much with that as we possibly can. And it's like,
they also
yes,
didn't take
this is the way I need to approach content. This is what I need to do.
But they also didn't take what they have thinking that they could aim for bigger.
Yeah.
Like they knew how much par was and they knew how to get to there.
Mm-hmm. And just like a couple real quick little things I want to talk about that really like connected with me in this saga. I've always loved that Matt hates mustard. Like I know it's a throwback, but like that's a thing that makes the character just instantly relatable to me because I hate mustard. Like I know mustard is very popular and I don't dish on anyone for liking it, but legitimately mustard, just the smell of it makes me nauseous. I do not like that stuff at all.
Out of anything to connect to, it's, he doesn't like mustard? Fucking my fave.
Yeah. And then also like a couple times in the saga, he uses a version of the song In the Pines, which it's a very popular, like it's a classic folk song. But like that's a song that I have very important childhood memories taught to because when I was little, that was like a bonding thing for me and my grandfather one day is he taught me that song and was like, this is an awesome song that everybody needs to know how to sing. I'm going to teach you this. And he just spent an afternoon coaching me on how to sing In the Pines.
Yep.
So that's like two really cool little things. And like I've talked about the bulk of like big important things about this saga to me. Like it's everything there is to love about wrestling without being a very wrestling thing. Like it's more of a YouTube thing than it is a wrestling thing, at least in style and in feel.
And the only thing close to it is Jakara.
What is that? I've never heard of that.
It is an indie wrestling promotion, mainly focused around like lucha.
Okay.
But like you'll have a character who's literally a dog in a cop costume, or a tag team who are both ice cream headed guys.
Fantastic. Where do I sign up?
There's a team of evil crustaceans. And there is about like 5 or 6 different versions of ants.
Are you sure this isn't a 70s Toku?
No, Toku is a very big influence on this.
Oh, great.
Hold on, I'm going to send you some pictures of some of the wrestlers in this. Hold on, Discord's loading on my phone because I don't have the pictures on my computer.
Okay.
Because I don't plan this thing. Plan bullshit. Who plans anything? Like, God.
Yeah.
What do you think you are? Organized?
Who would do that? Who would have like 8 different tabs open and a bunch of Google Docs running at the same time while he's recording a podcast? Who would do that? Some fucking loser. I don't know.
Wait, 8 tabs? Pleb.
Well, we don't need like a lot of reference material and stuff we're showing on screen, so.
Okay, it's gonna take me a second. So we'll just continue with the podcast while I get these photos so I can show you later.
Well, I mean, there's not really anything else to say except it's good. Go check it out. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, give this a try. Like, we've given you enough context to kind of understand how things are going in. There's a playlist on the TNA YouTube channel. There's a couple different playlists on YouTube that have different things in them. And like whatever you can't find through quote unquote legal avenues, that YouTube always has like a billion uploads of bootleg wrestling matches you can look for. And there's always like I know people aren't fond of people saying this, but like there's always torrents.
Yeah. Those are some of the those are some of the Chikara wrestlers. You got Ophidian, who is ancient Egyptian themed. You have
Ophidian is great. I want to be best friends with him.
Oh, he's part of a tag team, and they have the most illegal move in wrestling, where they do a little dance and hypnotize everybody, and everybody starts dancing.
Yes, we're gonna be best friends.
I am not kidding. It's fucking hilarious. Then you got Razorhawk and Silverhawk, which are like 90s comic book characters.
I was going to say, they remind me of Red and Blue Superman.
Then you got Officer Magnum.
Officer Magnum
is a dog.
He may just be best boy.
But yeah, Chikara's fun and goofy. Bunch of good stuff. There's also a dude who has a head that looks like a baseball. And here's
they directly ripped off Super Sentai there.
Yeah, and that's an ice cream dude.
Excellent.
Who looks like he's high.
He does. Oh, we'll have to check that out at some point, or I guess I will, because I'm presuming you've seen it.
I've seen a bit, but I don't have money to buy their premium service to watch every episode.
I'm also just not a big Lucha guy, so.
AJ Styles did a couple of matches with them a good couple of years ago, right before he came to WWE when he was still in Bullet Club.
Huh. Cool.
And he actually came up with a really cool improvised storyline during it, because Lucha, the ropes in Lucha are very, very loose. So he, in the very first day of the tag team tournament, he tried to do a phenomenal forearm, but he fell on the ropes because they were so loose. And he just kept going like, I hate Lucha ropes. So every time he was going to do a phenomenal forearm, he worked that into the match where he was a little bit nervous and people took advantage of it. And it's just really good wrestle storytelling.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's gonna wrap up that portion of it. So let's go ahead and get into some segments. Chris, why don't you tell us about some fucked up fruit facts?
The cabbage encloses nearly as much water as watermelon. Watermelon contains 92% water, whereas cabbage is 90%. And carrots are 87.
I like how ready for that you were. Like, you were talking about having to get this shit up and you weren't prepared. And then you just fucking throw that at me. Bravo, sir. Also, have you ever had corned beef and cabbage?
Motherfucker, my mom's Irish.
Okay. Well,
she's let me correctly state this. My mother's maiden name is Hare, and my great grandfather changed it from O'Hare. So it's several generations in, but I have a lot of Irish in me.
Yeah, I mean,
and if you're American and you have a lot of Irish, you eat corned beef. Corned beef isn't really a thing in Ireland itself, so.
I'm sure I've talked to you about this at some point. And we've talked about it on the show at some point. But like, I want to say my mother's side of the family is Irish and my dad's side of the family is Scottish. It might be the other way around. I'm not 100% sure because it's not a thing we talk about often. But yeah, that's another thing with my grandfather is like when I lived in the same area as him, whenever we go to visit him, we'd call like a couple of days ahead of time because he's one of those guys, and he'd be like, "Oh, you're coming over? Great, I'll have corned beef and cabbage ready."
Gotta love some corned beef and cabbage.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Like people may put it down as like one of the most easy dishes in the world. Like it's still really fucking good and it's super healthy for you.
All that salt can.
Well, it depends on how much salt you put in it.
Dude, it's corned beef. It's covered in salt. What do you think corned means?
I assumed peppercorn.
No, corning is like an old school style of pickling by using salt corns. Corns is like a kernel of a thing.
All right. Okay, I guess we just exposed how much of a food pleb I am.
Because think of it as like, have you ever seen rock salt?
Yeah.
Like cover a piece of brisket in rock salt and then just let it sit. That's corning.
Okay.
Now, typically, if you do it now, you brine it, which means dipping it in a water salt solution.
Okay. All right. Well, we didn't.
Oh man, this will be hilarious when we get to some of the food stuff I put on the list. Mm-hmm. Because you'll be going like, what the fuck? I did not know that about food.
Probably.
That's how you use a knife? What?
I know how to. In some cases, I know how to use a knife. But I didn't put out the call for questions this time because we are no longer going to be doing the questions in the email and the comments thing. We're moving it over to the subreddit. So if you want to go ahead and go over to r/modular media, there will be a thread by the time this goes up, just called Questions for Analytical Fanboys, and you can go and comment there if you want to ask us stuff. Not that if I had put out the call, we were going to get questions this time anyways, because we've never gotten them in the past. But hey,
we have one other person subscribed to Modular Media.
Yay!
There's me, there's you, and one other person.
Fantastic.
No idea who they are though.
Chris, number between 1 and 16.
2.
Have you ever cheated on a test?
Nah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I don't think I have, but like I was a shitty kid, so I wouldn't put it past me. But also, what opportunity would I have had to do that? I was homeschooled.
I was just pretty good at test taking.
I suck at test taking, but like I was never. I don't remember myself ever being a cheater. I'll say that.
I think the most I ever did was like kind of use something as like a reference. Like, but the teacher knew people would use it as a reference, and I was like, that's fine.
I don't even count references as cheating. Like, I want to do an episode on the school system, but like, that's a whole fucking thing to get into. But like, I hate the whole way the school system has of like, you can't use resources that are just available to people today, like calculators and Google, and it's a whole rant I can go on.
Yep. Because they're not teaching you to solve problems; they're teaching you to be subservient.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and get into selecting the topic for the next episode. So, Chris, are you ready to find out what that is?
Ooh boy, I've been putting weird shit on that list.
Yeah, and I haven't put anything on in like a couple weeks just because I've got so much, and I haven't been consuming a lot of new media for me, or a lot of new media that could go on this list. That isn't stuff I'm already doing for the show because I've kind of cut back majorly in my spending and whatnot. I'm like, no, need to get my credit cards paid off. I can buy new shit later. I've already got like a ton of stuff I can go back and go through, either for the show or just for my own amusement. So, oh well, let's the next episode. Well, motherfucker.
What?
It is His Majesty King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I'm in Your Mind Fuzz is the name of the album.
Ooh,
I know
King
this.
Gizzard.
This is a Chris suggestion. I know it's a pretty popular band. I've never really found out anything about them except for the fact that people who like them really like them.
The best way I can put it, because the other few bands we've listened to have been Ghost and Rage Against the Machine.
Mm-hmm.
This is nothing like them. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, the best way to explain it, okay, imagine hard rock from the 1970s. Okay. Now add a bunch of fuzz.
Okay.
And a bunch of grunge. Not like Nirvana grunge, just like dirty. And then on top of all of that, imagine the music took mushrooms.
What?
And then you can kind of maybe get close to King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Oh my! This is gonna go one of two ways, and you fucking know it.
Oh yeah. Like for example, it's not this album that we're listening to, but there is another album where they tell a story through their music of a robot longing to become human, getting the ability to eat like said human, eats too much, and then vomits to the point where it destroys the universe.
Fantastic.
They have an entire album that if you play it and you put it on loop, the last song will loop back onto the first song, so it's an infinite album.
Well, I like that kind of shit. That's a cool little artistic choice.
They have 2 drummers for no reason. And they did an entire album in microtones called Microtonal Banana. Or Microtonal Flying Banana. And they are so prolific, they made 5 albums in 1 year. All of them different genres and techniques and mindsets. So they're a funky ass band.
All right. Well,
and I am throwing you in the deep end.
Well, that'll be interesting then, and I guess we'll talk about that when we talk about it. But for now, Chris, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on the internet and what you do?
You can find me at Boingo Writer on YouTube, at Boingo_Writer on Twitter, and at my Discord server, link is in the description, and Modular Media subreddit. I do video editorial stuff. And surprise, surprise, I actually have a new video out. It's about NXT wrestling.
Oh my god, he did it! He became a real boy again!
And tomorrow, on the day of this recording, it should already be out by the time this comes out. I have a video about the themes and how they connect with other parts of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Which will be interesting. Because I know nothing about JoJo.
And I have an upcoming video about... Yeah, and I have another video plan coming out soon about Quad S Gridman.
Is that how it's actually pronounced?
I have no idea, but I can never remember how many S's when I just go SSS. It feels awkward, so I just say Quad S.
Have you not watched the show? How do they pronounce it in the show?
They've never once said 4 S's in a row. They just call him fucking Gridman. The bastards.
Okay, because I would have gone to SSSS Gridman, but that's just me.
Or I could be a pedantic asshole and just go 4S.Gridman.
Alright, so what were you doing with that again?
I should... By the time this podcast comes out, that may be the next upcoming video.
Okay. Well, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about that show, both from you and the Transformers wiki on YouTube.
That's so weird.
And, like, after a couple days of just being like, this piece of clothing looks like this figure. This piece of clothing looks like this figure. They tweeted out a picture of one of the animators' desks, and it's literally just like, you can hardly see the guy. He's just encased in Transformers toys.
I mean, it's an interesting way to develop color palettes and patterns for characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what? That's an interesting way to design some characters.
Yeah, probably. All right. Well, I would normally go ahead and plug my stuff, but unfortunately, I've been locked out of my channel. An asshole called Ranger T fucking hacked me and has changed the password, and I can't get back into my account. I'm talking to YouTube. I'm dealing with that. That'll resolve itself when it resolves itself. For now, just don't go look at my shit. Don't give him AdSense money that I can't get access to anymore. But I don't want to talk about that. This has been a good show. I don't want to get mad. Analytical Fanboys is a production of Modular Media. If you want to see more episodes of the show, go ahead and subscribe. It's youtube.com/bunch of bullshit, because we don't have the views to get a custom URL just yet. So, hey, go ahead and subscribe so we can do that.
Because we have 18 subscribers.
Yeah. If you want to listen to episodes of the show on the go and you don't have a YouTube Premium subscription, there is a link to download MP3s of every episode of both this and Modular Media Wrestling Podcasts, MMWP, in the description from Google Drive. If you want to follow us on Twitter and get updates on all the stuff we're doing as we're doing it, go ahead and follow it. It's at The Modular Media. You can subscribe to our Reddit for updates on our stuff as well. That is Reddit. Subreddit, yeah. It's r/modular media. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you all for listening. And until next time, this is Simeon Scott, and
I'm wonderful.
You are wonderful. And until next time, I guess we'll just we'll fade away and classify ourselves as obsolete.
Obsolete.
Obsolete. Delete. Obsolete. Delete. Obsolete.
You know what he took that? You know what that's from, right?
I don't know.
Death Note. He took that from Death Note.
Oh my god.
Matt Hardy is a weeb.
The fucking bastard.